Alright, so we have all the brackets done. I have everything set out. I have my drill out. Now we are going to actually start making the holes in the torso so that we can actually bolt these in. I don't have the elastic done, or I should say Dan doesn't have the elastic done, so we can't actually bolt them all together, but we can at least have all the brackets put in for so the next time he comes we can work on that part. So here's my box of goodies. I have top rivets right here for the ammo knee. So basically they just go into each other and then you either hammer them or squeeze it together. And then I have snaps. That's the female, this is the male. And then the opposite side of the snap. So I have a ton of those. I buy those at a shop in Arizona. Right here. So I get these like really cheap instead of going to Walmart and getting them. And then I have all the split rivets. I had another member that I made his armor. I had bought the original one and then he bought me some more, so now I have a lot. And then I use Chicago screws for the belt so that you can attach the the holster to the belt. So right now all we need is a drill, the brackets, and all the nuts and bolts. So I'm obviously going to need more nuts and bolts, but that's what I cut out for right now. So the first thing we're going to do is work on the ab and the chest. So what I like to do, and I found this out the hard way, is I work with the smaller of the two first. And I'll tell you in a second. So right now, just looking at the way that they sit, the chest is smaller than the ab piece. So we're going to put the ab piece to the side, and I'll explain to you in a second. So the chest, we're going to use these three to go on the chest. So we're going to come out, because this one's smaller, we're going to come out as far as we can. I usually go about maybe a fingernail's width from the edge. And I'll do it on this edge also, and then right straight in the middle. So we're going to put those three in. And then when those three are in, then we're going to line it up. And wherever these three brackets are, we'll make a line. And then that's where we do these next three will go in. So wherever that line is, these will go in. Like I was saying earlier, because I have longer screws, I can actually, these aren't the right screws. They're really hard to find, and in bulk, they're even harder to find the right ones. So what I do is I get these longer ones. If I want to, there's plenty of room there, I can make a little shim inside, a little plastic shim or spacer, whatever you want to call it, glue it into the inside, drill a hole, and then attach these so that there's actually outer plastic and inner plastic, and it'll help keep it stronger. I haven't needed to use one. I haven't cracked armor to need it, but on the safe side, if you wanted to, you could do that. Some people are kind of scared that using the bracket system will actually crack your armor, but I don't do anything crazy in the armor, just posing and walking around, so it'll be fine with just that. So first thing I got to do is I find the center. So I just used this little triangle part. So I'll just make a center right here, and this is a pencil, so it'll come off. And I just mark the center mark. So now I know But this is pretty much the center. You don't have to be exactly perfect, because all you're going to see is these little pieces right here. So if you make your centerpiece right here, it's going to be off. So the closer you can get to center, the more these pieces aren't going to look off. But if you look at the Death Trooper, you can't really see them that well. So if you're off by a little bit, it doesn't really matter, as long as you're not off by a lot. So I'm going to do the same thing with the ab. Mark my little center spot while I use showing you that. So now I have a center spot for both of them. So when I line them up, I pretty much use those to line up for the brackets. So now I'll come this way and I'll hold it in my legs. So I'm going to put up the piece here. Now I'm going to use this edge up here, and I'm going to use this edge, and I'm going to put that space, the hole, somewhere right in the middle. So when I come here, I'm just going to mark it anywhere, doesn't matter, until I actually put the hole in it. And it's fighting me. So there. Right, so I marked the two. So what I do, because mine are totally not consistent, so this is the center one, and I come over here and I mark it about a fingernail width. That's just a guesstimation I use. You don't have to use that same guesstimation. The hard part when you're working with one person is marking the other one. I usually have a second person help me. And if you have somebody that can help you, it'd make it a lot easier. So now I do put it on the left side and I get the right one. Do the same thing about a fingernail width in. Okay, so now I just come in here and I make the 6 holes. So like I said, I use this edge here and the edge down here, and I go somewhere in the middle. Just be careful if you were to slip, this drill bit will mark your armor up. So be careful doing this part. So you don't have to go crazy with it. All you need is just a perfect hole. So I do it in the inside instead of, I do it from the outside instead of the inside, because it's a lot easier to hold this drill bit up from the outside than it is from the inside. So one thing you're going to notice when I keep doing this is that my edges, my return edge is really big here. It's not quite as big here, and some of the other ones aren't as big, and some of them are just a tiny bit wobbly. But this one is going to be one of the only ones that is really going to be seen. So then you're going to come in here, just put in the screws. So if you look at your armor and you notice, like I did this really quick, but I might have to go back over and kind of sand down a little bit more, because some of it, the line isn't quite oval enough. But that's if you're picky. If you're not real picky. But I can kind of see it a little bit. It's a little bit thicker here than it is over here. Alright, so I put the screws in, flip it upside down, and then I put it in. So if I did everything correctly, then the lines will line up. And there'll be no problem. Again, you see how much longer these are? So with these longer, I can actually put a shim back here and I still have plenty of room. So now the next one. Some of these are going to be just a little bit tight, depending on whoever did it for you. I just move it out just a little bit. Fit in there. Same thing with the bottom one. So these are also a little tight. I just come in here and just open them up just a little bit. Fits right in. So with the correct ones from Mr. No Stripes, it is a lot harder to screw these down. I haven't had any problems with these longer ones poking me. So some of you guys might say, well, they're long, they're going to poke you. I haven't had any problems with them poking me. So now that that's done, that's the top bracket. Now we're going to do the bottom. So again, I had them lined up, and I have to make it go on the inside. I'm going to be doing this from the inside and not the outside. So I just come in here, and I line these lines up. So that's pretty straight. I come over here, come over here. So this doesn't have to be perfect, but just as long as they're really close. So there. Now I get the next three that I'm going to use. I'm going to do the same thing over again. So I already have the line here. I just put it up here. So there's the two. Come over here. So there's the two. Come over here. So now I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, this one's a lot shorter, so now I'm going to have to go right in the center. So obviously with drilling, you got to be careful you don't get your finger. So I'm not only being careful not to get my finger, I'm also drilling slow. So by some chance I do get my finger, I'm not drilling real fast. It only hurt a little bit instead of a lot. So I make these holes as small as possible. So some of these really got to push them in. This side you're not going to see, only the outside of the chest you're going to see. So earlier this afternoon, or this morning, I had cut off all that excess. I bent it down, so like you asked me before if you could see that, you're not going to even see it because it's going to be like this. So now we just flip it over, put them all in. So it starts getting trickier here with the smaller return edges. Might help if I had a screwdriver. Flat tip would make it a little bit easier. Come back to that one. So the ones that stick out further actually makes it easier. The ones that stick in real close makes it harder to get that, especially with the smaller, a lot smaller nut or screws.
How much stuff?
What's that? Alright, so I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to get a screwdriver, and I'll continue with the back part.